And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean,
over the Caribbean,
South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said.
No, we don't have.
So many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews?
The entire Bible is about black people. Not only was Jesus black, but every character in the Bible seems to be black too. Yeah, Zephaniah and Jeremiah and Jebediah, those all aren't white people names, okay? And Jesus wasn't some tan, partially melanated Middle Eastern person either. I'm talking straight up black dude, okay? Even in the book of Revelation, when you get the vision of Daniel, he's describing someone with feet like burnt brass and white woolly hair, and we've got the deep running water voice with the red eyes, and you guys, he's black. The Jewish people are black people, like Kanye was right.
Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger, a known eugenics, with the KKK to control the Jew population. When I say Jew, I mean the 12 lost tribes of Judah, the blood of Christ, who the people known as the race black really are.
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. We talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Now, this may come as a surprise to you, but as many as 10,000 Jews served in the Confederate Army, and they served bravely. There was Adolf Proskauer, a recent immigrant from Poland who fought at Seven Pines, Chancellorsville, Gettysburg, and Spotsylvania. Wounded at least 3 times, he just couldn't kill this guy. Then there was Louis Leon, also a recent immigrant, this time from Germany, who was one of the few survivors from his brigade who fought at Gettysburg. Now, he was real hardcore, and 50 years after the battle, he had this to say in his memoirs. "I still say our cause was just, nor do I regret one thing that I have done to cripple the North." But there's one Confederate who in some ways topped them all. Judah Benjamin was born in the West Indies, grew up in South Carolina, and made his way to New Orleans, where he also made his fortune as an innovative sugarcane plantation owner with 140 slaves.
And you know what else, Jim? I just want to say this to our Christian friends, just to call it as it is and say it straight out, you guys are worshiping one Jew. That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us, because we all die for your sins every single day. And that's exactly what's going on here. Yeah. We're all God's firstborn, and we're dying for your sins right now because the Jewish people in the land of Israel are the bulwark against the orcs. Mm-hmm. Okay? The orcs are coming not to a theater near you, but to your home.
בכל העניינים. בזמן שישראל לאחרונה נמצאו כמה עניינים. מה שלא יאות, וגם אמרת שעדיין משיח ליבו, אז הייתה משהו ומה ידיעתו. הכנראה שהיא מספיק, כאילו שהיום כבר כמה שעות בגלל עדיין ליבו, אבל יש עוד כמה שעות, אז יש להשתדל גם היום, בבשורות טובות. יש שמחה וטוב ליבו. כדי שחסידים מקפידים שכל עניינים יהיו שמחה. בשורות טובות, הצלחה רבה.
This story begins in October 1949, 1 year after Israel's formation. This is when Netanyahu was born, the second child of a historian. His paternal grandfather was a rabbi and a Zionist writer. His name was Nathan Milikowski. Later in life, he Hebraized his surname from Milikowski to Netanyahu, a name which means God has given.
This is Yair Netanyahu's DNA test that has been leaked. You can see right there his Y DNA is RM198. Descendants of RM198 come from Poland, Russia, Germany, and other European countries. Does this look Semitic to you? Does this look Middle Eastern?
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to you guys. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. Hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. Before we continue, moderators, if there's anyone that's posting obscenities, profanity in the chat, give them a warning, remove the comment. If they continue, completely remove them altogether. All right. We don't tolerate that here. I know that the information can be frustrating, but we are not going to allow profanity to be used inside the chat. That is not acceptable, because doing so, right, you can cause this platform to be. We're already dealing with a lot, but you can cause this platform to have to be blocked and all kinds of things, and we're not doing that. Be respectful. If I know some of this information can be hard. I know it can be hard. I know it can be some hard information to deal with or listen to, but we have to be professional. We have to understand, like the scripture tells us, that we are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. There's nothing wrong with, it's not a sin to be angry, right? But it's how you go about letting out your frustration. All right. So I just want to say that, again, let's be respectful. Let's make sure that we are not in the chat posting things that can be, very, very, very misleading or poor representation, should I say, of what the channel is really all about. Hallelujah. So really appreciate you guys for the love and support. Got me plenty of rest last night. Normally I'm up late, putting my lessons together and things like that. I decided to turn in early, so I've gotten a lot of rest over the past week, much needed rest. And then of course, thank you guys for the love and support, for the, just the prayers for my family as we go through this time of bereavement. Still have a little more to go once we officially lay my mother-in-law to rest. So, but really appreciate you guys. All right, let me see here. I see before we get started. Let me see. In his latest, I'm not understanding this question here. Someone is asking a question about the book of Jasher. I'm going to say this. Watch the video. I did an in-depth teaching on it, so I'm not sure what your question is pertaining to that, but go watch the video. You know what I mean? I'm not here to teach on the book of Jasher. It's a false books rather. They're not biblical, so I'm not even sure what the question really is. They're false books. They're referenced. I mean, it's referenced in the scriptures. It's referenced in two places, far as Second Samuel, as well as the book of Joshua. They're false books. So there's no, I'm not sure what's the confusion, what's the question. I shared sources. I shared the contradictions all through the books, right? And I shared the people, the 1948ers who created that book. So I'm not sure what's the confusion with that, but I'm not teaching that tonight. I'm going to deal with a different subject tonight, and I'm going to do the book of Enoch. I may even do it if I have enough time. I may do that tomorrow. But again, I already addressed it, and if you have any questions, post your questions in the chat there, or just send me an email. My email address is there. Also, let me update. Did I update it here? I'm going to have to update my I'm going to have to update my Cash App because of all the things that Cash App has tried to do to my account. So I had to create a new account for those that would like to contribute to what we're doing. Really appreciate you. And also another update with the property that we acquired May of last year. We will be breaking ground. Prayerfully over the next week. A lot of politics and things along that line that we have to deal with. That comes with the territory. Yah blessed us to where the property that we acquired is now valued at like at least 5 times the amount that we purchased it for. So you can imagine the rippling effect that has on, other communities. I'll just say it that way. But with that being said, really appreciate you guys. And prayerfully within, several months, I will keep you guys posted. And when we actually have our official groundbreaking service, you guys that would like to come out to celebrate with us, you will be given information on how to do that, and how to basically get your invitation. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and touch on the topic tonight, and that's dealing with the greater Israel, right? The subject, the greater Israel, and then you see human sacrifice. Greater Israel, human sacrifice. And this, for me, ties into the cult of Baal. And I'm not sure if you guys are really familiar with the word Holocaust. The word Holocaust. And for those that are familiar with it, please don't, kind of shoot the gun, so to speak, for those that are not. But I'm pretty confident that most do not understand what this word Holocaust means. And when we start understanding the greater Israel and some of the things that we see, for example, the comments by Lindsey Graham, the comments by the, commander-in-chief, about having soldiers sacrifice, basically, I'm just paraphrasing, sacrificing their life or lives for these 1948ers, for the greater good, so to speak. I mean, think about what's going on, family. Think about what's going on. And I'm not defending either side, but think about what's going on. You have one country that have partnered up with another country to go against a country that they say is a threat. Say that having them having nuclear weapons is a threat. Then we see about 7 months ago, the commander-in-chief in Netanyahu, right? They stated that they bombed the nuclear sites and they destroyed the capabilities of Iran from building nuclear weapons. Do you guys remember that? So now, what's the threat? See, when you start paying attention and when you really follow the breadcrumbs, the fake negotiations that was going on, the 1948ers, along with this commander-in-chief, had no intent on having negotiations that was going to come to a resolution, because following everything, Iran conceded to everything in terms of the nuclear stuff, right? But then, of course, they wanted to continue to, when I say they, the commander in thief and his partner in crime, his partner in death, right? His partner in destroying everything that they put their hands on, the hustlers that they are, right? Decided to say, hey, get rid of all your weapons that you can use to defend yourself with. So you have a nation, right? One of the smallest countries in the territory that's controlled by a people that's not even aboriginal to the area, should I say indigenous to the area, asking another country to comply with nuclear guidelines as far as in terms of weapons of mass destruction, so to speak, and they are not even complying. They have nuclear weapons, right? I'm putting some clips together, but nevertheless, they have nuclear weapons, but they're telling another nation they can't have nuclear weapons. They are the threat because they have the capabilities of at least creating a weapon, but the nation, the 1948ers, this is that manipulation, the Daniel chapter 7, when we start dealing with, is it chapter 7? Right? I'm having a brain freeze tonight. When we start dealing with the 4 beasts. All right, let me see here. Let me make sure I'm correct. Daniel chapter 7, the 4 beasts. All right. So when you start understanding the 4 beasts, especially that fourth beast is a beast of manipulation. Now, family, I already know YouTube is going to do their thing with shadow banning and doing all kinds of things, because look at the numbers right now. Normally, our numbers right now would be easily 400 to 500 live, viewers. And by the time the night caps, it'll be about 800-900. But look at how the number continues to stay at a certain, live connections. So it's all good, family, because guess what? The truth will not be denied. It cannot be denied. Why? Because the truth is going to go forward. But family, when you really start unpacking this and the hustle, and it made me think about that a key word, and that is the word Holocaust. It made me think about the word Holocaust. It made me think about some of the things that I've read about in terms of the current news, and of course the Holocaust itself, the 6 million numbers, right? Far as during the far as the Holocaust, and then the 6 million numbers that was tossed around or being documented, far as the 1948ers that began its conception, or should I say, in the media rather, its rounds in the media, starting with the news publications in like the 1913s, well before 1948. Made me think about that. Matter of fact, let me see if I could pull this book out. Let me see here. Let me slide over here. This book right here, Transfer Agreement. This is a great book. I encourage you guys to purchase this book. This is an eye-opener. This is an eye-opener. And I encourage you guys to purchase this book. You'll learn a lot more to this whole Balfour Agreement, and you'll learn a lot more. Right? You'll understand a lot of the things that we've been sold through media, and we already know who primarily owns the bulk of the media. All right. You understand that we've been duped. Let me show you this book again. All right. The Transfer Agreement. My screen is reversed. The Transfer Agreement by Edwin Black. The Transfer Agreement by Edwin Black. All right. You can get this book on Amazon. All right. You can get a hard copy, but they also do have it for the Kindle. All right. It's so much, man. It's so much, so many lies, right? And when you start understanding Zionism, when you start really unpacking Zionism, right? How is it that they already had a Jewish state before 1948? In Russia, Birkenau. I'm not sure if you guys know that. Birkenau. They already had a Jewish state in Russia. Things that you just don't see in the media. You don't see this in these publications because who's running them? Who owns it now? It's in your face now. You got this commander in thief that's in that when you start really studying this commander in thief, his grandfather is from a community of 1948ers. He is a 1948er. Did y'all know that about the Jewish state in Russia? A lot of people don't know that. Did you know that when you start really unpacking the things that we see going on, you start seeing the layers upon layers upon layers? So let's talk about this. Because when you really start understanding this group of people, they've been planning this for a long time. This is a long plan that they're implementing. They're in it for the long haul. They targeted Uganda when you start understanding the Uganda Council, right? Uganda was the targeted place. Believe it or not, they wanted to have a new Jewish state in Texas, Canada. They were targeting multiple areas. Come on, family. But Uganda. See, when you start understanding, the things that are going on, you can see the truth. This is the issue. The reason why so many can't see the truth, because of religion. We've been programmed to gravitate to a man-made system called religion. Religion is man-made. The ancient Israelites did not practice Judaism. The ancient Israelites did not create Christianity or Catholicism. If you want to be true about the word Christianity, that's a 10th century word. But nevertheless, they did not create Islam. None of the ancient Israelites practiced any of these so-called Abrahamic faiths. When you remove religion and then you understand the true tense of the text, then you start understanding, wait a minute, I don't need religion to have Christ. I don't need religion. Remember, part of the programming, and I'm sure you guys have been in the church, right? The way the church casts spells over people, over its parishioners, is by what? Preventing you from leaving that church. The ritual is when you leave that church, they have to kill your character. Have you noticed that, family? How many of you guys been there before? You leave a church and you do it in the right way. You give your letter of resignation. You've been in that ministry for over 10 years, and now it's time for you to transition. Then all of a sudden, they want to kill your character when you're not there. They want to murder your character. That's a ritual. That's a ritual. They have to cast this spell as if you leaving that church or that assembly, you're leaving that church and now you're leaving Christ. That's the spook doctrine. That's the charms. That's the witchcraft. And then you find yourself letting the people know, no, I left the church. I left that assembly, but I didn't leave Christ. In this awakening, right? Because you're telling the people, your family members or loved ones or friends, you're telling them that you left the church because you know who you are, you know your identity, and guess what? You're not leaving Christ. You're not leaving the Father. You're not leaving the Son, and now you understand the truth about the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit of Yah. But they treat you as if you have left Christ. They treat you as if you are in a place of sin, because that's what religion does. Religion is what we see today. Religion is what they've been creating over time. So now religion has become the new identity, because being Judaism, right? Now the construct that's connected to Judaism, the word Jew, now you can be this Jew through what? This religious system. Oh, come on, family. Can we be real about this? So let me show you some key words here. And I may have to cut and paste some of my old presentations into this, especially when we start dealing with the hustle that we all been subjected to. Witchcraft that's been before our eyes. Give you a whole nother perspective when you see this key word. Because what really made me think about it, I start really thinking about the Epstein situation. And when you start delving into the layers and layers and layers, and you see how this administration is doing everything it can to protect all those that's connected to the rituals that was performed by the elites, you start getting it start making you think. These same people, right, that's basically controlling these different man-made systems, including the judicial system. Look at what they're doing. So let's start with this here. Let's kind of set the tone, right? I was working on the video, and I'm still working on the video. I've been working on it for the past few days. So initially, I wasn't going to go live tonight. I was going to premiere the video, which my goal is to have it about an hour and 15, hour to 30 minutes, and it's called Sacrifice. And some of the clips that I'm going to share with you comes from that. It stems from that video. I still have about 30 minutes to go with that, and because of the time was getting late. By the time I would have encoded the video and all of that, it would have been 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning before I can upload it. Right. So I said, let me do a live. I'm still going to upload the video. Preferably, I can have it ready for tomorrow night for you guys to kind of see how it's all put together. And I want to start off by this clip here. Before we get into this word, because I think these clips will help set it up. Let's start with this first clip here so we can kind of really put things in this context, starting with the Greater Israel. You guys are familiar with the Greater Israel, but let me go ahead and pull this clip up.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Israel defends itself against Iran in the Seven Front War, the line separating the blessing and the curse could not be more clear. This is the map I presented here last year. It's a map of a blessing. It shows Israel and its Arab partners forming a land bridge connecting Asia and Europe between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Across this bridge, we will lay rail lines, energy pipelines, fiber optic cables, and this will serve the betterment of 2 billion people. Now look at this second map. It's a map. Look at the second map. It's a map of a curse. It's a map of an arc of terror that Iran has created and imposed from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. Iran's malignant arc has shut down international waterways. It cuts off trade. It destroys millions, destroys nations from within, and inflicts misery on millions. On the one hand, a bright blessing, a future of hope. On the other hand, a dark future of despair.
You see that, family? The great of Israel. The greater Israel. And how he's deceptively using the text. The greater Israel. Now, I'm going to show you another clip. I have the greater Israel breaking it down even more, but I'm not going to get into it yet. But I want to show you another clip, right? I want to show another clip here to you guys. Let me get to another clip that's going to help set this up. You guys remember, matter of fact, let me show you a clip from Epstein's niece. I'm gonna show a couple of clips from far as her sharing her testimony. This is Jeffrey Epstein's niece, right? So I'm gonna play a couple of clips, and we're gonna use that to help set this up. All right, now listen to what she has to say. Here we go.
My name is Anya Wick, but at birth, I was Anya Beth Epstein. I was born in a house in Boulder. In 2015, I changed my name to Owen Theodore Epstein. In 2020, I changed it again to Anna Petrova. I had realized what I was surrounded by my entire life and thought I could hide from it. And I married a man named Wick, kept that name, and decided to start going public with my story just a few months ago. I had chemically driven amnesia the majority of my life. I am Jeff Epstein's niece, and I was raised as a sex slave.
The ritual abuse is different than other forms of sex trafficking because it's more than just being forced to have sexual relations with someone against your will. It's sacrifices of animals and people. It's in the middle of the night being taken from your home and taken to an undisclosed location, and sometimes they don't remember where they were taken, so then they don't even know if it was real. Sometimes it's underground, and then these are rituals, meaning it happens on a regular basis. So whether it's once a week, once a month, but it happens regularly for years and years and years.
I think it was David Icke who woke me up to the ancient cults and the bloodlines that continue to these generations. And I think you're the first survivor, perhaps, who's actually detailed how that has continued over the ages. So if you could maybe expand on that a little bit, I think the viewers would find this fascinating.
What specifically would you like expanded on?
So what was the cult that you mentioned earlier, the ancient one?
The cult of Baal. B-A-L.
Yes.
B-A-L.
Yep.
I know very little about it. My family masqueraded themselves as Jewish publicly. But behind closed doors, at Passover dinners, when I was drugged, would admit, we are Satanists.
And as you heard, that was Jeffrey Epstein's niece. And she said some things that was pretty alarming. I didn't have an opportunity to put some additional clips here, but she said that she was drugged, right? That she would be taken out to these different, places, right? By family, right? They would drug her, and she was being prostituted, all kinds of things. That she was subjected to. She was like from being a child all the way up to being a young girl, like 14, 15 years old, and that they would give her drugs, right? So the drugs that they would give her would produce a state of almost like like she's not there. The state of where everything is so I would say like cloudy, to where she can't tell that she's dreaming or if it's real until she started unpacking that. And that's a pattern. That's a history of behaviors over there. Think about it. Think about Kanye West, right? Remember, I shared the clips about Kanye West, and that's what shifted Tucker Carlson's approach to him. If I have time, when I play this next clip, I'll go all the way upstairs and get my hard drive and bring it down here, and I'll copy some of those clips over so you guys can see. I'll upload some of those clips, additional clips. But remember, Kanye's handler, which was his fitness, his trainer, threatened to drug him, threatened to have him admitted into a psych ward, so to speak. Think about the behavior that you see with him now. Very erratic, right? So think about it. That when he shared the screenshots, because people thought he was crazy when he said that, didn't believe him. But when he posted the screenshots, what happened? Tucker Carlson changed his stance. Like, wait a minute, there's some validity to this guy. Kanye even said in that interview, told the truth about who's truly running this country. It's not Netanyahu. It's Jared Kushner. But you heard Epstein's own niece share how she was drugged. Now, you guys, I'm going to show you guys another clip, and then we'll get into it. This is some of the things that I was pondering, and this is some of the things that's going to be included in my video that I have coming up. Right? So I'm going to play another clip. This is a clip. This is an old clip. You guys probably remember me showing you this clip, but I'm not going to let the cat out the bag. I want you to see the clip first, and then we're going to start. We'll get into this key word I want you guys to really understand, and that's Holocaust. Here we go.
As a child, my next guest was used also in worshiping the devil, participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy, suffers from multiple personality disorder, meaning she's blocked out many of the terrifying and painful memories of her childhood. Meet Rachel, who is also in disguise to protect her identity. My next guest treats ritually abused children in her therapist practice. She feels that the problem is much more widespread than any of us can imagine. Says there's no doubt in her mind that the children and adults that she treats are telling the truth. Tina Grossman, we're glad to have all of you join us here on the show. You come from generations of ritualistic abuse?
Yes, my family has an extensive family tree, and they keep track of who's been involved and who hasn't been involved. And it's gone back to like 1700.
And so you were
right.
abused.
I was born into a family that believes in this.
And this is does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really? And so who knows about it? Lots of people now.
I talked to a police detective in the Chicago area, and several of my friends know, and I've spoke publicly before. And
so when you were brought up in this kind of evilness, did you just think it was normal?
I blocked out a lot of the memories I had because of my multiple personality disorder. But yes, I mean, it's like if you grow up with something, you think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought.
So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to,
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in our family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not, or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back.
Now, you were telling us earlier that this was that the practice with the Kilroy death was a religion called
Palamayombe, which not all people who practice Palamayombe obviously sacrifice. I think what we're looking at is a worship of evil here.
Right.
Taking normal or standard religions and converting them to the worship of evil.
Right. And I just want to emphasize that you don't have to be Caribbean to do it.
No.
Yes.
The other thing I want to point out, not all Jewish people sacrifice babies. I mean, that's not a very difficult thing. I just want to point that out.
This is the first time I heard of any Jewish people sacrificing babies.
Now, when I first came across that video, because I remember seeing that video like when I was a kid, man, that video is a really old video. I remember seeing that video, but when you understand that video and the person that you see testifying, sharing her testimony, the 1948ers labeled her crazy. Media labeled her crazy. I purchased her book and read her book. And she's very graphic. And you start seeing now, you hearing the very things that she had gone through. You hear it now, you're starting to see the truth behind that. They labeled her crazy. And when you look for the episode, it's the Mexican cult murders, I believe it's called the Mexican cult murders. So Oprah Winfrey, what she did strategically, instead of labeling the video or that episode of what it truly intended to be about, she labeled it the Mexican cult murder. You can see why now, right? Why she labeled it, gave a different label for the episode when it was really about the 1948ers exposing the cult, exposing the rituals that we are coming to know and understand. That's the name of the episode. You know, again, so many layers, right? So many layers. So much is going on. And so have we been, and this is the thing to think about, have we been programmed to accept human sacrifice? Have we been programmed, when we start getting into predictive programming and all that, have we been programmed to accept human sacrifice? See, when we think of human sacrifice, right, we just think of like taking someone's life and you just, you have them up on an altar, you have a dagger and you just taking their life right there on the altar, blood. That's not the fullness of what human sacrifice is. Think about these organizations called secret societies. When you join any of these any one of these secret societies, when you are pledging your life as collateral. So your life is now what? You are willing to sacrifice your life as a what? Blood sacrifice for that organization in order to what? Wear that shield. Does that make sense, everyone? Have we been dumbed down to start to accept human sacrifice? But by way of these different fraternities, sororities, and even now how you look at how the church function is as if it's a what? A fraternity. In Church of God in Christ, we had a song when I was in there in that organization singing, "We are the Church of God in Christ." Saying that you have to be born in it, born into it. You have to be bloodline. Think about that, family. Have you guys really thought about how we've been programmed to accept sacrifice, human sacrifice, these rituals? Have you guys thought about that? So now it's not, how can I put it, doesn't stand out as much. because you hear sacrifice, 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 even as a soldier sacrifice for the greater good, sacrifice for the greater good. You know, I pledge allegiance, right? You're pledging an alliance to the flag. You're pledging allegiance to the stars, right? The red and the white stripes. You're pledging allegiance to the stars and the red and white stripes. The 5-pointed stars that's on this flag. The wait a minute. Pentagram? The 5-pointed star on the pentagram? And you're pledging your life to that star? That star that you'll find in a number of different settings? That is used synonymously with the hexagram? Oh, come on, family. You see, when you start understanding this and you start looking at the bigger picture, religion is what's pushing this system. Freemasonry is a religion. Fraternities and sororities are simply denominations of this religion. Does that make sense? Because all these fraternities and sororities comes from Freemasonry. So let's look at a key word here to see how we've been programmed to accept human sacrifices. Because words are being what? Rehearsed. Let me stretch this out here. Let's look at this word here. Holocaust. What is a Holocaust? What is a Holocaust? What is the meaning of the word Holocaust? Let's go to the etymological dictionary. This is online. Let's see what it says about Holocaust. Let's see what it means. All right. And we're really going to highlight this area right here. But look at what it says here. Sacrifice by fire, burnt offering. When we start understanding this word sacrifice, right? When we start understanding, matter of fact, you know what? I don't want to shoot the gun yet. I'll build it up here. Sacrifice by fire, burnt offering. Old French, holocauste. From the late Latin, holocaustum. From Greek, holocauston. In other words, a thing wholly burnt. Then we see burned whole. From the holos, whole. The Proto-Indo-European word soul or sal that holos come from, which means whole. Proto-Indo-European, right? That is, you might as well say that or say that that's synonymous to the language of Japheth. But then this is an interesting entry right here. Originally a Bible word for burnt offering. Given wider figurative sense of massacre, destruction of a large number of persons. From 1670s, the Holocaust, Nazi genocide of European Jews per se in World War II. First recorded in 1957. Earlier known in Hebrew as Shoah. In other words, catastrophe. So they didn't have this word being used the way that it's being used until 1957. Right? The word itself was used in English in reference to Hitler's Jewish policies from 1942, but not as a proper name for them. English chronicler Richard Devies, in his contemporary account of the coronation of Richard I in 1189, used the word Holocaust when he described the the mass murder of the Jews of London, although he meant it as a sacrificial offering. So we see that the Holocaust, right? You're right. It says burnt offering, but we see how this is associated with human sacrifice, because we see here massacre, destruction of a large number of persons. We see how these things were added here because this is not biblical. And I'm going to show you that the word that we would see, the Hebrew word Allah, that's the proper pronunciation of it, had nothing to do with human sacrifice from a Hebraic school of thought. But it's when that word was transliterated into the Greek, then you start seeing layers being added to it over time. But let's go to the Oxford Dictionary definition of the word Holocaust. Let's see what it says here. The mass murder of Jews under the German Nazi regime during the period of 1941, right, to, I guess this is saying 1950, right, or it just had 1941 to 1945, my mistake. More than 6 million European Jews, as well as members of other persecuted groups, were murdered at concentration camps such as Auschwitz. Wait a minute. So you see this word Holocaust being associated with the 1948ers, right? And now I want to make sure we're clear here, just in case we have trolls here, right? There's always trolls. But I'm not here trying to minimize the tragedy, because one innocent person losing their life is one too many. So I'm not here trying to dispute whether or not if it was real, right? If tragedy happened or it didn't happen. That's not where I'm getting at. I'm dealing with this from a linguistic perspective and understanding how words have meaning, and how do we see a word from an ancient Hebrew, Allah, right? That's the proper ancient Hebrew pronunciation of it, right? That's supposed to be synonymous to burnt offerings, dealing with sacrifices of animals. Now we see this word as it's began to make its way through society, right? Through these different periods of time. Now it's being connected to Holocaust. Holocaust is now being used to connect it to a people with this, when we start understanding the definition of this word is supposed to be connected to the burnt offering, sacrifices. So how is this word being applied to a people that went through a tragedy, and now it's being labeled the Holocaust? Because over time, this word was being applied to different mass murders or massacres. But by the time we get to 1941 through 1941 to 1945, this word began to be used as, or titled, the Holocaust, right? When we start understanding how it's being applied, because you don't hear this word or this being applied to anyone else but this group of people. So what is the Hebrew word and definition that's being transliterated to Holocaust? Let's look at the burnt offering, right? This is what you'll see inside your scriptures, but look at this word. Now, of course, this is Israeli. When you see Olah, the O sound did not exist in ancient Hebrew, right? Before I continue, let me play this clip. just in case naysayers may be trolling, let me play this clip real quick.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the three classes, ah, e, and oo, and then down the side the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the ah class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the ah class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally there was no O sound in Hebrew. Everything.
All right, so I wanted you guys to hear that. All right, I've been teaching this for years, but for those that may be new to the channel, I wanted you guys to hear that, right? So when we look at this word that you see on your screen, the proper pronunciation, because this is the ayan in ancient Hebrew, the original sound is an ah sound, similar to the first letter alap, right? Ayan is not a vowel, it's a consonant, right? So it will be pronounced ah-la, not o-la. This will take you right to the primitive root word. The primitive root word, and I'm going to show you here as well, is Allah. This is Israeli, right? This is when you start getting into the mixing and meshing of Yiddish. But anyway, but look at what it says, just to get to the point here. It says, a step or collectively stairs as ascending, usually a holocaust. In other words, as going up in smoke. Ascent, burnt offering, sacrifice. So make a note of that, family, as we do some exploring here on this word. Where's my mouse here? My apologies, family. I was looking for my mouse. Oh well, can't find my mouse. All right, I'm gonna have to purchase another one. Okay. Let me look over here. All right, I must have left my mouse upstairs in my my man cave, so to speak. All right. But anyway, that's not going to stop what we're doing. All right. So when we see here, we see Allah in the Israeli Olah. Again, it means step. In other words, or collectively, stairs, as ascending, usually a holocaust, right? That entry is forced in there. As going up in smoke, ascent, burnt offering, sacrifice, go up to, okay? Now let's go to the primitive root. As you see, primitive root, Allah. You see, that's my point, family. Always go to the primitive root. Always go to the primitive root. So when we see here, we see Allah, to ascend, intransitively, in other words, be high or actively mount, literal and figurative, as follow: arise, arise up, bring, bring up, carry up, grow, increase, grow over, right? Grow, increase, over, increase, mount up, raise, recover, restore, rise, make to rise up. We see begin, right? Spring up, begin to spring up, to go up, ascend, climb. Now, do you see anything that suggests or make reference to human sacrifice? What do you think, family? Do you see anything here that makes a connection to human sacrifice? Do you see anything within this definition that makes the correlation to a human sacrifice? And if you, whatever your answer is, if you say yes, type, I'll put 1. If you say no, type 2. and we'll read your comments here. All right? Because this is important, family. Do we see anything that's related to human sacrifice in this definition? And I'm going to read some of the comments just to give some shout outs to you guys for the love and support. All right, let's start with, let me scroll up here. All right. Margie Lemons says no. Elder, shout outs to Elder holding things down in California, says no. Really appreciate you, Elder, for holding down the chat and some of the other moderators as well. His stolen identity, no. Daily repentance, no. All right. Burnt offering, we don't see anything about a blood sacrifice. That's the question that I want to make, is a human sacrifice with the ancient Hebrew word. We don't see anything that's suggesting a human sacrifice. Okay. And that's the point that's the question. Okay. So let's see who else here. No, wait, please don't. Shout outs to you. Really appreciate you. Don't see it here. All right. The bad guy. Okay. I got you now. Don't see it here as well. Ema Horton. It's not there. Me, myself, and I going a little De La Soul here. Don't see it here. Corey Story. Don't see it here. Berean in the building. Berean Scholar in the building. Didn't know you was in the building. All right. I'll drop the link if you want to jump on and join the discussion. You know how we do. Let me drop the link for you if you want. If you want to jump on. This is not a scheduled live, so but really appreciate all that you do. All right. But he says he don't see it. All right. Let's continue here. Let's see who else. Lisa Gibson. You don't see it. So far, you guys, it's unanimous here. Let's continue. Let's get some more in here. Shout outs to Young Tally. Don't see it here. Ambi. Don't see it here. Let's see. Laron. Don't. Let me make sure. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Lorhonda Thomas. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Don't see it here. Let's see here. Remnant of Yah. Shout outs to you, my brother. Don't see it here. I don't know that, and that's a fair answer. Definitely understand. Definitely understand. All right. Yahuwah Yahuda Seli. Don't see it here. Simo. All right. So it's almost unanimous. Right. Yah's path straight. Don't see it here. All right. So this is almost a unanimous vote here. Let me give some shout outs here as well. Shout outs to Laps DSY. What is that? Almost look like LAPD, but anyway, shout outs to you. And forgive me if I mispronounce your name here. I know this may be a reach. Could the Greater I Project end up including a land grab in West Africa? Absolutely. Absolutely. The Desert of Seth in the 1747 map, which covers Nigeria, Ghana, Mali, Nigeria, are on the map. Your thoughts? I shared that earlier, but when you look at the Ugandan council, the Ugandan council, but right now with their Greater Israel includes part of Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq. I mean, that whole area. And they want to have control part of Iran. And part of control of Iran is to what? Make it so that way they can't defend themselves. That's the only reason why you start looking at countries like North Korea. Why wouldn't they do that to North Korea? Why? Because North Korea has a nuclear weapon that they can use. Notice the countries that have a nuclear weapon don't have any problems. All right. So let's see here. Yah's love. shalom to Yah's loved ones. Really appreciate your love and support. Thank you for the contribution tonight. Really appreciate it. I want to say peace and blessings to Vincent Ali. Great program. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you for the contributions that you've been pouring into We Woke Now. Really appreciate it. And the family, let's show all three of our contributors tonight some love and support. Hallelujah. All right, I'm going to bring Berean Scholar here. Shout outs to you, my brother. Peace and blessings to you.
Shalom, brother. Shalom. How we doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. You know me, always into something.
And we are laying it down tonight. Yeah, these people, these 48ers are hard at work. And I just we're doing some research on the that very thing that a person brought up, how they was going for Uganda. And Herzl himself changed it to where it's at because they needed the religious group. The Zionists wanted the religious Jews to be with them. So that's why they went towards where they're at now. So,
and they was also rejected. They voted not in favor of going there. I think I have a slide because I did a slide on a presentation on that years ago. But I haven't touched on it in a while. But yeah, to the point though, they targeted a number of areas. If they're saying that they're originally from Israel, right, that land, why are they targeting all these different places?
Yes, right.
They should be targeting where they say that they supposedly are from. Because again, they were targeting Texas as well. And the largest communities of the 1948ers is New York. Also you'll see in Los Angeles, as far as California, but you also see in Texas, Houston, Dallas. That area is the largest, third largest concentration of the 1948ers.
And you're right. They leave the trail. And that word tells you exactly what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So think about it, family. Why are they targeting all these different places? Canada was on the list. How was it again? They had Birkenau, which is a Russian territory. How is it that they have a new Jewish state there? Ukraine established a law return for them to return to there. Ukraine is connected to what group of people? The Scythians and the Khazars. Any comments, my brother, before we continue?
No, keep going, brother. Keep going.
So think about it, family. Just what I shared so far, thus far with you guys. Let me show you another source, right? I like to function in the 2 or 3 witnesses. So this is the Ernest and Klein Etymological Dictionary definition of this word that transliterates to burnt offering. The ancient Hebrew is Allah. The Israeli is Olah, right? Now look at what we see here. Look at what we see here. Let's see if we see anything that remotely alludes to human sacrifice. He immigrated to Israel because it also, remember, we saw the definition of to rise up, right? So he immigrated to Israel, was brought up, was taken up, right? Ascending. He caused to go up. In other words, on the altar, said of sacrifices, was offered, said of a sacrifice, right? In other words, was taken up into, was inserted, was offered, he said of a sacrifice, he elevated, praised, he lifted himself up. But do we see anything that remotely alludes to human sacrifice? All right. And this is dealing with the greater. No, wait, what video is this? I've got to remember this video. Oh, yeah. This is dealing with Jeffrey Epstein, his connection, with this account here. What was it? Malak or whatever, You know what I mean? And he's connected with the Rothschilds paying him. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. So think about it, family. Were we, was we pre-programmed, or have we been programmed over time to accept human sacrifice? Especially when we start looking at this name here, or this word. What do you think, Berean scholar?
Their programming went deep. Yes, we were pre-programmed because now, and I love it because these things are dropping out. Everything is being revealed.
Everything is being revealed, as my brother pointed out. But think about it, family. Every organization, you have to go through a process of being dead and raised up.
Exactly.
Every fraternity and sorority, which stems from Freemasonry, you go from what? The ritual is what? Being, and you hear this term, and many Freemasons would know this term, being a dead level to a living perpendicular. In other words, you're on your square. And the whole process of what? Being dead. And you, part of the ritual is being what? Raised from the dead. You are what? Using your life as collateral. And religion contributes to that. Now, there could be some linguistic questions about the word religion, because they'll tell you plus they're tied into lecture. But when you also think about it, legion. That seemed to be more of an accurate connection, right? Because when you deal with these religions, you have to what? Pledge an alliance, basically. You have to prove your connection to them, like you pledging an allegiance to what? The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Under who? Because now you have a generic construct of God. Getting back to what? The original place by what? Undoing. So you're making a legion to what? To who? Any comments, my brother?
No. Keep going, brother. Keep going.
Think about this, family. See, again, we've been programmed that when we think about sacrificing our children to Moloch, passing them through the fire. See, this is how the 1948ers, with their doctrine, they get out of it by saying, if you do one, you could dedicate your child to Moloch, but you can't kill them. They can't lose their life. Or if you gave your life to them, sacrificed them to Moloch, but you can't dedicate them. It's crazy. That's the way to work around it. But family, sacrificing your children to Moloch means that you are using their life as collateral. This is why we as a people, not just as our community, but even other communities, have to be careful on how you push your children through these systems of men. You can, sacrificing your children to a shield of what? Sports. Yeah, the NFL, they say what? It's all about what? Protecting the what? Shield. Am I right, my brother? Is that one of the quotes that you hear about the NFL? They have to protect the what? Shield.
With all, yeah, and to the extent of the defamation or hurt or harm of the people who play in it.
Come on, family. We have these things all around us. All around us. And we started this series a while, probably about maybe a little longer than that, but probably about 6 to 8 months ago, about the cult of Baal. And Epstein's own daughter made reference to being connected to The cult of Baal. Let me play it one more time for those that have entered the building kind of late here.
I think it was David Icke who woke me up to the ancient cults and the bloodlines that continue to these generations. And I think you're the first survivor, perhaps, who's actually detailed how that has continued over the ages. So if you could maybe expand on that a little bit, I think the viewers would find this fascinating.
What specifically would you like expanded on?
So what was the cult that you mentioned earlier, the ancient one?
The cult of Baal. B-A-L.
Yes.
B-A-L.
Yep.
I know very little about it. My family masqueraded themselves as Jewish publicly. But behind closed doors, at Passover dinners, when I was drugged, would admit, we are Satanists.
That says it all, family. That says it all. The cult of Baal. The cult of Baal. And I didn't get a chance to extract a video that I worked on because I still got more to do to it. Got about 30 minutes left of it. But there's a prime minister, a former prime minister over in Israel, whose daughter exposed what she was subjected to. Being raped, being molested by both her mother and father, because her mother was a prime minister. Being subjected to all kinds of rituals as a child, prostituted, being raped by rabbis, being raped by all kinds of people, right, over there. And guess what? She's mysteriously dead. They report saying that they don't know the cause of death, but she's mysteriously dead. In Israel, we all, this is public information, right? Israel, that is a safe haven for, I would just say, from a perspective of, so they won't flag us, I would just say Epsteinites, us Epsteinites. And y'all know what Epstein got down with.
Yep.
Epsteinites are all through there. And there was one situation that occurred that made international news, but they ended up sweeping it up under the rug. They had to do some things for the sake of visual of how a 13 or 14-year-old girl was raped, gang raped by over 30 guys in school. I mean, in a hotel, gang raped. And this thing happens regularly over there. I have a panel of women sharing their testimony in front of the Knesset about how they were gang raped by rabbis, politicians, you name it. It is a breeding ground for this behavior. But should we be surprised? Especially when you understand their so-called other rabbinical literature.
Exactly.
Human sacrifice extends beyond just taking someone's life literally. Even the Messiah said, it's more to killing someone or taking someone's life than physically taking them out, taking their last breath. He made it clear, if you kill their character, that's just like what? Destroying a person. So there's more to it when you start understanding passing your children through the fire is what? Getting them involved in all kinds of things that's basically they're dedicating themselves to the systems of Moloch. Didn't understand it to the fullness when I was a kid, but I was raised not to pledging allegiance to the flag. I was taught to just stand up, at attention, but do not pledge to the flag. I'm not sure if you was schooled that way as well, but I'm a Berean scholar. But that's what we were taught growing up. Don't put your hand on the heart, to stand at attention.
No, we did the pledge, not knowing what we were pledging to. We followed the same cadence that the rest of the sheep did.
And think about it. Most don't even know the fullness of it. I was watching Afro Man. That's the popular guy right now. And I understand his plight because he won his case because of being harassed by the police and all that. But I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Because it's like promoting, you know what I mean, my brother, promoting his country with his red, white, and blue colors and stars and all that other stuff. I'm kind of mixed with that. But think about it, family. Going back to the main point, we've been programmed to accept human sacrifice. I mean, when you study Epstein, New Mexico, he had a compound out in New Mexico. Now because of things hitting the wire now everything is just hitting the fan. Now all of a sudden they want to do investigations, but investigating that at least 2 or 3 girls were murdered and buried outside the compound. Having all kinds of crazy experiments that they were trying to come up with, or still trying to come up with, to make it so that way in the future, people cannot reproduce unless it's through them. The elites give permission. Oh, don't think that that Endgame with Thanos' agenda, don't think that was just cartoons. When he was driven by saying that the whole universe, right, is running out of resources. So he have to do away with, what was it, 1/3 of the universe.
Exactly.
In order to bring balance. Do you know that Prince Charles and those guys said the same thing about Africa? Said that they need to, that Africa is growing and they have to put some things in place to basically do control of the growth of the people because they're concerned about the wildlife.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, look it up. Bill Gates, to your point, constantly trying to warn about another plague that they're putting together, that he's part of it. Or another plague is coming. It's going to be even bigger than. Get vaccinated. And mysteriously, the president of Haiti, who rejected the president of Tanzania, who rejected, they no longer are living. Come on, family. So, again, family, we've been programmed to accept human sacrifice. All for now, the greater Israel expansion. For those that may not be familiar with that, let me get over to here. What is the Greater Israel Project? This is a refresher for some of you guys. The phrase Greater Israel emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries during the development of Zionist thought, though it was not formally articulated as an official state doctrine by early Zionist leaders such as Theodor Herzl. Herzl primarily advocated for a secure Jewish homeland through diplomatic means, focusing on Ottoman Palestine rather than Nile to Euphrates Empire. All right. So later nationalists and revisionist factions discuss broader territorial aspirations, including land on both sides of the Jordan River, and critics of Israeli settlement policy eventually popularized the term Greater Israel Project to describe perceived expansionist ambitions. So what is the Greater Israel Project map? Well, look at here. So their whole goal is to make sure all these countries cannot defend themselves. They have nuclear power. Look at how small this is. They have nuclear power. This all is Egypt here. But they want to control the canals here. You notice you see the canals here, right? Look on the other side here, Iran. They want to control all of this. Because they get control of this, they literally control the world. This is the start right here. This is our Egypt. Because guess what? They get control of this. Oh man, that's basically almost like unchecked power now. But they had to make sure that all the nations around them cannot pose a threat. The biggest nation around here that poses the biggest threat is Iran now. It used to be Iraq until the help of the United States. But Iran is the biggest threat. Look how big Iran is. This entire important strait right here is on, is on the other side of their, it's basically, they occupy one side of this Gulf, the Persian Gulf here. I mean, but think about it, family. All of this here, this little area right here is only like a 2-mile gap here. I was able to be here from being in the military. I was here, right? I could point out some other areas, but I was here. I was even in Riyadh, right? I was here. I've been to Bahrain. I wasn't in Qatar, right? Drove past it or through it, right? But been here. That's a whole nother discussion. But Bahrain, Kuwait, and I can tell you, my dorm got blown up. So this is the Greater Israel. And they are now, with everything going on, this is the thing that's going under the radar. They are bombing Syria. They're bombing all these territories, and they're taking land right now. They are expanding right now. So Netanyahu invokes Deuteronomy 28 as he explains the Greater Israel Project before the UN. Right? I already played the video. But look at what he had, what maps he have in his hand. On one side, you see the curse. On the other side, you see the blessing. Any comments, Berean Scholar?
Keep going.
And now, mysteriously, no one knows if this guy is living or not.
Exactly.
Because he haven't been at any of his meetings that he would normally be there to being part of. He haven't been there, about 2 weeks now?
2 weeks until yesterday, but most everything he's been in, it been some glitches or some things that people have picked apart in the videos.
Oh, so he did come to surface yesterday.
Yep.
In that meeting?
He was in the meeting, but the meeting was in the intelligent meeting was a little different from the other ones when he was not there. So
let me look at that. I gotta look at that video now.
I haven't verified it yet, so I'm not gonna know. you got people can jump the gun on that.
Yeah, because I know up until yesterday, it's been 2 weeks since anything has been heard or he's been seen,
and that's not his MO.
Suddenly you see videos or AI videos of him supposedly being at a coffee shop in wartime at a coffee shop
during a war. And he knew the only person, that Great Israel Project, the only one that stood in their way is who they attack now, Iran.
Yeah, so far I'm not seeing the latest video. Yeah, so far I haven't seen the latest video.
I'll put it to you.
Okay. Yeah, forward that to me. But family, so far, they've been letting that putting out AI videos. Now let's just say he could, if he's still alive, he could be injured. But anyway, but the greater Israel, that's what this is. Expanding the 1948ers' control. And he stated that he wants to control this area. Right, to supposedly run lines through that area. Let me play it one more time. I don't even want to mess up with my explanation. Let's hear from the horse's mouth on what he says. Let me see here. Let's listen to it one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, as Israel defends itself against Iran in the Seven Front War, the line separating the blessing and the curse could not be more clear. This is the map I presented here last year. It's a map of a blessing. It shows Israel and its Arab partners forming a land bridge connecting Asia and Europe between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Across this bridge, we will lay rail lines, energy pipelines, fiber optic cables, and this will serve the betterment of 2 billion people. Now look at this second map. It's a map. Look at the second map. It's a map of a curse. It's a map of an arc of terror that Iran has created and imposed from the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. Iran's malignant arc has shut down international waterways. It cuts off trade. It destroys millions, destroys nations from within, and inflicts misery on millions. On the one hand, a bright blessing, a future of hope. On the other hand, a dark future of despair.
Come on, family. There's a reason why you had the curse map upside down, because everything that they're doing is upside down. Peace and blessings to Bert and Trubin. I hope I know I'm butchering your name, and forgive me. Blame Berean Scholar. My apologies, but thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you again, family. Let's show some love. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Berean Scholar.
I was looking. I found one, but I think it's this one's by the 49ers, so I'm not seeing that one.
Okay. So, family, these are the things that are going on, and that's why I wanted to do this live, just to bring some things to your attention here about human sacrifice, right? We are basically, we've been programmed to accept human sacrifices. So Benjamin Netanyahu is holding, as we shared, two maps labeled the curse and the blessing. On the curse map, the shaded black territories included Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and parts of Gaza. And you guys already know who Netanyahu is. I don't need to play all of that. He's not as well as most of those guys. He's 90. Actually, I'm going to say all those guys, because if the DNA says 99.9 basically percent Europeans, those guys, when you do their DNA test, so I'm not even going to put a percentage of them even being from the area, But again, these guys' agenda, I mean, it's a wicked agenda. It's an colonizer agenda, and that was to have a presence of them in this territory. This commander and thief, look at what he's doing. He gets a percentage off of every so-called agreement. Any comments, Berean Scholar?
Oh, Michelle was on mute. Yeah, this the video is really disturbed me when you played the niece of Epstein. If they would do that to their own family, they have no crumbs to doing that to anybody else.
Yeah,
I mean, what they did to their own family. In fact, you compare that video, the video from ages ago on Oprah. Family, they do not care. And right now, the sacrifice is our young men and women who are fighting over there, and they're sitting back and watching. They're trying to take land somewhere else.
Yeah. Man, I was looking for the slides here. Yeah, this is family, them promoting sacrificial worship, human sacrifices. Let me see here. Oops, the wrong one. Do I want to start there? Which slide is that? 77, that's 54. They deal with enchanting, as you see here. And I'll pull up this map here in a second. Again, we touched on this a while back. But let me go to slide 77. Mishnah, he who gives his seed to Molech incurs no punishment unless he delivers it to Molech and causes it to pass through the fire. So it's saying that you can give your seed to Molech long as you don't what? Pass it through the fire, that your child doesn't die. If he gave it to Molech, but did not cause it to pass through the fire, or the reverse, he incurs no penalty unless he does both. The Mishnah teaches idolatry and giving to Molech. Rabbi Abin said our Mishnah is in accordance with the view that Molech worship is not idolatry. For it has been taught, if one causes his seed to pass through the fire, whether to Molech or to any other idol, he is liable to death. But Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Simeon, said, if to Molech, he is liable. If to another idol, he is not liable. Or he is not. All right. All right. So here is another entry from their Talmud. So we dealt with Molech, but this is incantations, right? Enchantments or enchanting. The egg. I share this from time to time because when we think of the egg, we always think about Christianity, Catholicism, but Judaism tend to get a free pass. Look at here. Our rabbis taught it is permitted to consult by a charm spirits of oil or eggs, but that they give false answers. Incantations are made over oil contained in a vessel, but not in the hand. Therefore, one may anoint with the latter but not with the former. I tell you, they always put a way out of it, right? And this is further proving here. Both eggs and oil were used for purposes of magic and in folklore, folk medicine. All right. This states the practice, not a ruling. All right. Anything you want to share, Berean scholar?
And this goes back to the same formula as you said before. The Talmud, even the books, the false book we started this off with, how those things are written, is promoting and giving the glory to men instead of to the Most High. It's giving all the. In fact, this is what they're doing. They are trying to bring on something that's supposed to be done by the Most High. It's putting themselves in the place of the Most High.
Exactly. And Berean scholar, you want to explain this map since I know I did a lot of explaining of it the last time, but you're very astute in this map as well. So you want to explain this map that we have on the screen here?
This Cult of Bayal map, if anybody has seen it, you've seen it here, or did a snapshot, you will find some of the events that went on through our history that shows you the connection to this cabal, how it goes all the way back from the Canaanite gods and like you see Molech in the middle, all this stuff to Babylon. All this stuff is a line that we see through the scriptures and our people were guilty of it. But this is their cult that they're promoting these worship in these organizations. I mean, can you go down? You see down from the Sphinx all the way down to what we call now the Illuminati, Mason, Freemason, all the secret societies, like you mentioned earlier before. All this is on this map. You'll find the mention of all of them on this chart. And the very layout of that chart itself is significant with the Kabbalah, the part of the occulted part of the Judaism religion.
And what he's referring to is what is called the Ein Sof, or the Ten Sefer, or Sifrit rather, right? This has additional, but it's still based off the same mystical chart. Some different mystical systems refer to this as being the tree of life.
Just say what I've heard before is going back to what I just said. It's supposed to be the tree of life, or the shape or the parts of what they call their God.
Exactly. So to that point, right? For those that may not be aware, let me reverse this. Right, this is supposed to be the torso.
Exactly.
Right. This is supposed to be the shoulders. This is the head, and you see the horns. On one horn is Baal worship. On the other side is human sacrifice. It also looks like a platform, like an altar. Then you see here Canaanites, but on the shoulders you see pharaohs of Egypt, and on the other shoulder you see kings of Babylon. All right, and but you see all the interconnections. So, from a Judaism perspective, this whole diagram is supposed to represent the body, the layout of their deity that they worship, called Ein Sof, which is referred to as the Infinite One. So this is, as you see here, you see some of the labels here, like you see Kabbalah here, as Berean scholar mentioned. You see Masonry, you see Jesuits, you see all of this is still connected to what we just laid out, these secret societies. Illuminati. And then, of course, the United States now, from the Ten Sefer, right, where you see the Illuminati on the Ten Sefer, this would be the Yesod. It also means foundation. So this telling you in this chat, in this diagram here, that the Illuminati is what? The foundation. And then you see that U.S., right, this is the same position of the Shekinah or the Shekinah, which is supposed to represent the female reproductive organ of the Ein Sof. right? And this is the same position of the United States, which is referred to as Lady what? Liberty, right? So you
Right.
see the connections here, family. Illuminati, these are elite. A Negro cannot be part of the Illuminati. That's a fact. Can be a Mason, can be a shrine. But even if you had, even the richest Negro in the world cannot be in the Illuminati. So it's a lot to unpack,
Wow.
family, but you know, go ahead, Berean Scholar. I'm sorry.
I'm just looking at when you're going through, you look at it, you see the history. You know, everything started back with Nimrod, the Canaanites, up in that area of Babylon, over to Egypt, the gods of Egypt, down to Rome, and you can follow through the scriptures through this, all these occultists believe. You know, right there in the middle with the Vatican. That's when the onslaught of the church. Wow.
And see, family, and I haven't gotten around to reading this book. I'm going to read it, but this is the book of the person that put the that map together. Put this diagram together.
Palazzo.
All right. So, bloodlines of the beast. It's a lot of information here. I just, because of everything on my plate, I said I was going to take some time to sit down and to read, to see some of the information within it. I'm sure it has a lot of information, but I just haven't had time to sit down and go through it as of yet. But hopefully over the next few weeks, I will. But family, this stuff is real, family. It is real. And let me see if I have it here.
And noble execution it 278. Yes, Yah's hand is upon us. Yah is with us as we walk in his righteousness. Then we fall under his protection. But we need to be aware of the scheme of the enemy.
Exactly. And that's the thing, family. We have to Berean Scholar's point. The Most High, we know that the Most High has a plan for us, but it doesn't mean that the enemy is not going to still do certain things. He has a plan for his people, but really part of that plan is we have to endure.
Yes.
In order to endure, we have to be aware. And the Most High is making us aware through his word on the things that we're currently dealing with right now and things to come. But if you're not aware, if you don't, be proactive, then you could get tossed around with anything. And so this diagram, this is the bottom portion of it, right? To Berean Scholar's point. Like I said, this is the torso, the foundation, as you see here. Let me rewind it back a little bit. So again, this is the foundation, the Yesod, that represents the male reproductive organ. And then the Shekinah or Shekinah, that represents the female reproductive organ. All right. All Jewish mysticism, 1948ers mysticism.
Now think how much fun they had when the church jumped on that word Shekinah.
Man.
They sat back and saw us making songs and all this stuff on Shekinah glory, Shekinah glory, whatever you want to pronounce it. They sit back. Look. We got them. We're saying those spells in their worship.
And family, I mean, that thing gave me a headache. I mean, you had Juanita Bynum, you had Martha Menezes, you had. I mean, it's just like a major. Almost like a pretty much a paradigm shift in the church, man. Every time you turn around, it was Shekinah. And my wife would tell you, it gave me a headache. It irritated me every time I saw videos. I hear people singing, and because I had no clue about it.
one person looked up the Hebrew and found that in the not the original, not the pure language Hebrew, but in their Hebrew, is Israeli, and found that word and thought they was deep and found something new.
I'm trying to tell you. I mean, and for me, my mother practices Judaism. Been practicing it for quite some time, for at least 50 years, right? So, actually, I want to say about 45 years, but it's close to 50. And I read this, you know what I mean? And it's like, wait a minute, Shekinah, Shekinah. Wait a minute, that's supposed to be the feminine aspect of our Alahayim? It's like, wait a minute, whoa. Not found anywhere in the scriptures. The closest thing that you would see is in the Quran, right? Which refers to, Muhammad's niece. Her name was Sakina, which means tranquility according to the Quran. But from a Hebraic perspective, this word doesn't exist. Shakan means to dwell. It means permanent. They added an to make it feminine, and that's what they created based off of Jewish mysticism, the Maccabah mystical system, and created this whole doctrine. So, family, this is why you when I say that it's been they played a waiting game. Everything that you understand about spirit comes from what's his name? Plato. It's the Greeks. Oh, the spirit is impersonable. The spirit has no no attributes. It's just like the wind. It has no gender. Yet we see that the Father is described as having hands, back, face, all the things that a spirit is not supposed to have. Has a gender, right? Referred to as Father. But I'm saying all of that just to show the Greeks' impressions on the text and our understanding that's still promoted by these guys. All these these so-called Abrahamic faiths. So even in Freemasonry, as you see here, this is promoting the worship of Lucifer. This is from Morals and Dogma of the ancient and accepted Scottish rite of prepared for the Supreme Council of the 33rd degree Southern Jurisdiction of the United States, page 321. All right. And he's giving praise to the to Lucifer. And when you look here, these are the two pillars. 9/11, the two towers, right? Supposed to represent the two Johns. The square and the compass, not going to break all this out. The chessboard, which is also where you get the checkerboard. The entire Little Jerusalem, which is another name for Charleston, South Carolina. The entire city is based off of a chessboard. The checkmate, as you see here, is actually the slave market. But you see the Baphomet with the 5-pointed star that we've been.
Wow. The checkmate of the slave market.
Yes.
In the game of chess, what did checkmate mean? Break that down.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You got it.
No, go ahead. Cause I'm a checker player. Game of chess.
See, when you look at checkmate, right? And for those that are not familiar with chess, right? the most powerful piece on the board is the queen, because the queen can move in any direction, right? Forward, backwards, any direction. Your rooks, north, south, east, and west, right? Your bishops diagonally, right? Your knights, 3 spaces, different directions, right? It can't just be 3 spaces, left, right. It has to be in an L shape, so to speak. But the key is when your king is in a position that it cannot move, that if it, no matter what space it moves, it's a goner, that's checkmate. How do we relate that to Charleston, South Carolina, the slave quarters? To about a 45-degree angle, you'll see a church there, right? That's the bishop. You'll also see what is called the outside of the slave dungeons, you'll see giant rooks that are positioned in a place to where they keep watch of the dungeons, right? These are, 3-story high rooks, literally. I'm not making this up. I got pictures of it, right? So their position, every position of it, is to make sure that the slaves that's in the slave market cannot move. Everything that is done is based upon what they plan, what they already calculated, what they allow them to do. And there's still hooks there. So when you look at the checkmate, so all that's participating in the checkmate, you have what is called the what's that what's the place what's the name of the place
in Savannah?
It's not just, it's in every city, as far as when you have product coming from that's centralized into an area that you're going to sell. I forgot the name of it.
Market square?
It's another term. It's not the market. I can't think of it right now off the top, probably because I'm going a little brain dead. But anyway, this major building, and it'll come to me. This major building is where all the slaves, guess what, are documented and everything. It actually has a chessboard on the base of it, and it has 33 steps from the time that you are on the ground level all the way up to the front door. And there's 3 levels, customs, right? That's what I was thinking. I couldn't think of the name, but the customs building looks like a big giant lodge. Right? So when you start looking at the whole landscape of it, here's the interesting thing. From the king and queen on their side, right? They have the Hansel and Gretel statues out there. That's a whole nother discussion. But they have a tower, right? When you see these homes with the what you call it, now I can't think of terms right now. I'm going brain dead now. The balconies, right? You know how you see those older homes with the balconies that's like 2 to 3 stories high, or sort of at the top of the house? That's so that way they can keep their eyes on that checkmate. Make sure if anyone runs away or escape, they sound the alarm. Whoever's serving at the top of there, they'll get the word from, for example, the bells that are rang at the bishop, the Catholic Church. I mean, it's really, when I say it's all laid out as a chessboard, literally, family, as a chessboard. And guess who put it together? The 1948ers. The first Masonic Lodge is in Charleston, South Carolina, by the 1948ers.
But the main intention is to get that checkmate, and the checkmate is the slave market, and we were the king. They kept us in check.
And think about what he just said. The parallel to that, right? Kept us
people
in check.
The chosen people, checkmate.
And what's interesting is on the slave market, you have a clear view to the port that they came in on. It's a straight shot. Right off the port, you go through the house of customs or whatever, go straight to what? The market. You still have the clips, the nails, not the nails, the screws and everything with the hooks and everything are still in the walls. I took pictures of it.
And no, and all that is not by coincidence. They laid that out on purpose. They are showing, they are flaunting their players.
Let me say this again. Let me be clear with someone posted. I think the first lodge was in Scotland, England, actually. I didn't say the first lodge of globally. I said the first lodge here in this country is in Charleston, South Carolina. Listen closely. I didn't say that the first lodge is here. No, I understand the whole layout. Listen with intelligence. I'm not dealing with Scotland. I'm saying here in this country, the first lodge is the 1948ers. The first fraternity, right, is down in Williamsburg, Virginia, right? And sorority is from Williamsburg, Virginia. Mm-hmm. The first Negro fraternity is the Prince Hall Freemasonry. So I understand the whole layout. I understand, when we start getting into what they call the Mother Lodge. I understand all of that. So I'm not dealing with it from that perspective. I'm dealing with here in the United States.
And every single one you just mentioned goes right back to that chart you had up.
Exactly. And I'm going to go back to that here in a second. But you notice how this is laid out. Looks similar to the chart, doesn't it?
Yep.
If you start putting the X's around here, connecting the dots, it looks like that diagram. I'm looking here. Let me put this person out. Nah, you can't rock with that stuff here. They are a cult. Someone trying to say they're not a cult and beneficial. No, that's the lie that they trick everyone with is, hey, it can benefit you. There's no benefit from here. You sell your soul. They own you. You trading your life as collateral.
Secret oath.
The fraternal order of the what? Police? Still connected to this system? All of it? No, No, there's nothing good from it. That's the delusion. Look at here. See that Baphomet here? Come on, family, with the pentagram on the head. This is a bisexual goat. Has breast. Anyway.
Pink Pine, I was just going to say that when you were saying that, Pastor, all the turning order, the police and everything, and sororities and fraternities, Divine Nine, and she wants somebody who are waking up, and there's a lot of people now online are waking up and coming out of those organizations. They're looking at these rituals they're doing and say, wait a minute, this is not biblical.
And look at what Albert Pike says, right? For the public understanding. Look at what he says. That we must say to the crowd is we worship a God. But it is the God that one adores without superstition. And who they referring to is Lucifer. See, family, when you start unpacking this, when you see a God, this is when you start understanding language. You have what is called definite articles and indefinite articles. In the English language, it contains both indefinite articles and definite articles. And indefinite articles adds ambiguity to a text. right? This is where you see words like a. So when it says we worship a God, that's ambiguous, right? But versus saying we worship the God, but even this word God is a generic construct. This word God from the Norse, Gater, means mortal. It's connected to mortal. They're mortal deities that dies. And they go to a place of Damarong, called Damarong. Gater Damarong is where the word extends from, far as the slang of it extends from. So here it says we must say to the crowd, we worship a God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. All right. The Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates, of the high degree maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. And when I rewind it back here a little bit, this is addressed to the higher degrees, the 32nd, the 31st, the 30th. All right. If I'm saying it's here in reverse, but the 30th through the 32nd degree, this is for them, right? To teach the lower. All right. So the Masonic religion should be, by all of us initiates, of the high degrees maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, the God of the Christians, who deeds prove his cruelty, perfidy, hatred of without ugliness, no white without black, for the absolute can only exist as two gods. Oh man, come on, family. It's right in our face. But let me go to another source. Look at all of this here. Come on, family. I'm not going through all of this, but entire presentation, but I'm just giving you some visuals.
I'm glad you put that up.
Now, if I put the line across here, you'll see 1, 2, 3, right? And then, of course, I put the line here, 4, 5, 6. You'll see a 6-pointed star, which is the pentagram. I mean, the hexagram. But on this side, you see the 5-pointed star. And look what it says, fatal. These same colors that you see is connected to the Wicca, when you understand Wicca. These colors represents what you call it?
The elements, the 5 elements.
The elements. And this is the worship of the elements. In Wicca, each element, they believe that each element is an angel. They worship the elements. This is connected to Baal worship. Now we tied it all the way back to what? The worship of Baal, the cult of Baal. Uh-oh, look at what we see on the screen. When you see the yellow, air, red, fire, white, spirit, green, earth, water. Family, this is why you got to be careful, especially to our sisters with these hair colors. And you're probably getting approached from people that you trying to figure out, why is this person approaching me? Why is this guy approaching me? Why is this lady approaching me? Because your hair can give off messages that you don't even realize.
That is so true. That is so true. If you don't know, if you're not aware of the signs and the symbols, you could be singling somebody and walk into a covenant or walk into a cult person, and they thinking you part of them, and you don't know what's going on.
Exactly. There was a movie called, what was that movie? It was teenagers. It was like a high school movie. It was basically like a cult classic. And you had these girls that started playing with witchcraft. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. And they began, one of the magic spells was changing colors of their hair. It was
I
like
think
they
that
call it a cult classic. It was a very popular movie, The Craft. There it is, The Craft. There's scenes of them actually doing this there, showing these colors of their hair, changing their colors to these colors here.
and guys, they're putting it in the movies. They're showing you this stuff in Hollywood, and it's funny. My wife and I was talking about. They feel if they put it out there, we don't think it's real because it's on the movies, but it's real.
And that's the trick.
Exactly. Put it out there front. Hide it in plain sight.
And unfortunately, a lot of our people is dipping and dabbing in this stuff because of Hollywood, because of how things are being sensationalized. All right, let's see here. The mark of the beast. Remember, we talked about that. And this is key, family. We're not going to go through this whole presentation for the sake of time, but I just want to bring this passage up. Look at what it says. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small, great, rich, poor, free, bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. This is a pledge. See, we've been institutionalized. Actually, I'm not going to say we all been institutionalized. Many of you have been institutionalized through poor theology, poor eschatology, because you're looking for a physical mark. You're looking for a computer chip. How long have we been looking for a computer chip?
That's since I've been involved in Christendom. That's been 40 years.
What hand do you use when you're taking a pledge? What hand do you use when you have to go to court or you see them in court giving a testimony? What hand do they use and what hand do they place over on the Bible? When you see someone swear in, what hand do they use? When you pledge an allegiance, what hand do you use and where do you place it? That's a Masonic position right there. Stating that if you break your commitment, so to speak, if you reveal certain things, I'm just leaving it at that, that you can have what? You could be killed.
Yep.
But you're using your life as collateral. You're placing your right hand over your heart. That's what this is saying here, family. For those that are teaching you to look for, oh, it's a computer chip. Oh, no. Flee from them, family. It's time for us to start growing up and understanding properly what this text is saying. Go ahead, Berean Scholar. I'm sorry. I sound like he's getting ready to say something.
No, it's the version of the Torah too. What y'all brought us out with what hand?
Exactly. So think about this. Aman means go to the right hand. But when we start looking at the mark versus, this is where you get the nakud or naquad. That's an unnatural mark. When you look at Jacob with the sheep and the goats, you had goats that was what? Spot and speckled. Right? The speckled was ones that didn't have a natural mark, and he put a mark on them, an artificial mark on them. So this tells you, to Berean Scholar, right? When you understand the word Aman, it means consistency, it means faith, it means permanent, it means belief, it means confirmed to be true. It means also go to the right hand. So don't let anyone fool you by saying, if you say Aman, oh, it comes from Egypt. No, the actual God or deity in Egypt is Yamanu. It's the Roman government that took Yamanu and came up with the translation, alliteration of it, saying Amen Ra. Come on, family. It's just that simple. But Aman, look up the word Aman, the primitive root, you'll see it spelled Ahman. That's why you hear me say Aman versus Amen, Aman. And you'll see within there everything that I just laid out. The key is what? Going to the right hand. So when you understand Deuteronomy chapter 27, then it gives the law of the curses. Israel, after each one was quoted and to them, recited to them, right, in this amphitheater type setting, Israel, after each one, said what? Amen. In other words, it's true. Who sits at the right hand of the Father? So going back to Berean Scholar's point, the right hand. So everything Hasatan is doing is to what? Pervert.
Exactly.
So they're going to have what? Their form of righteousness. Going all the way back to Genesis 3 and 5. When it says that, telling Eve that you don't need the Most High in your business. You can establish what? Your own righteousness. You can establish what is holy on your own. You don't need the Father. Are we not seeing this right now, family? The son of perdition sets himself up inside the what? Temple of the Most High to be worshiped as if they are the Most High. Isn't that the son of perdition that Paul talks about? So you see the stars, the flags, you see the Shekinah, as Berean Scholar pointed out, and some other things where? Among the church. You have ministries, Shekinah ministries.
Yep.
Any comments, Berean Scholar?
Well, you hitting that. I have a friend who broke out and started their ministry. And that's what they named it, Shekinah Glory.
And so look at here, family, and that no man might buy or sell, save they had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. But the key here is, where is it? And he causes all. Family, this is saying that, it's not saying that people are voluntarily, everyone's just going to volunteer and get this thing here. Look at where we are right now. Social Security card. We was born into this thing. Look at all the things that are around us, because the system of man is what? System of authentication. You can't even open a bank account up without a what? Social Security number. Remember at one time, you didn't need that. They changed, they start shifting that direction like in 2001, 2002. To now when you do, let's just say you get insurance for your car. What are they running? Your credit. Oh, family, it's a lot deeper, but then at the same time, it's a lot more simpler than what we think it is, how it's been taught. All right. But look at verse 18. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of who? A man. It tells you it's the number of a man. Man was created on the 6th day, but we see his number is 603 scores and 6. In other words, 666. That is a system. Democrats, Republicans, system of men. Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Judaism, all of those are systems of men. It's other systems, when we start getting into Freemasonry and all that other, it's systems of men. I'm not going to explain this. You guys already know this. I'm not going to get into all that. All right. Any other comments, Berean Scholar, that we may have missed that you think we should bring up?
You pretty much nailed it, brother.
$6 million. I had a couple of articles here that I could bring up. We still see 6. System, 6 million. These are articles that are, 1918, 6 million, Right here's the actual screen print right here of the actual PDF. I downloaded 6 million souls, 666. Right? Not going to read all of this. Let me see if there's any more here. Oops, wrong one. Oh, I just put one article here. Okay. I thought I had more than just one article. All right. All right, Berean Scholar, any final words you want to give?
This is this cabal, this movement of the people we call 49ers and the other people who are in legion with them goes deep. And the systems, you said these systems, like you said, there's many systems. These religious systems, part of those systems, are designed to make us worship and bow down at the idol of anything other than the Most High. If we are walking away from the law, statute, and commandment of the Most High, then we're walking in lawlessness, iniquity. And that's what they want. They want a checkmate. They want to separate us from the Most High.
Exactly. Kind of that thing is, if they can't beat you, then they want to manipulate you so that way we forfeit our position.
And forfeit, I mean, we give it up. Exactly. That's a good way to put it, Pastor. If we have to, they want to trick us, so we give it up. Even the elect may be deceived, and we are the elect.
Yeah. Well, family, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in to us. If all goes well, I get it done, I'll have the video uploaded tomorrow night. Got a few, like I said, it's about 30 minutes that I got to finish editing, and it'll go even deeper in terms of with the information in terms of the video clips. I'll have the video clips of the Prime Minister's daughter, some additional information, some other things that's going to help give you visuals and connect the dots here. But family, this is something that you can't get in one session. Berean Scholar been doing a great job putting out video, putting out so much good, great content, and he still haven't shared everything. He still got a ways to go, just like I do. He has, I think he's at like 1.5 million videos, and he's still got a ways to go.
Wow.
And so I got a few videos on my channel, but I still have a ways to go. So, Berean Scholar, before we wrap up, tell the people about your channel and what you got going on.
Channel is Berean Scholar, where I want to encourage everybody to be a scholar themselves, to be like the Berean people of Acts, that don't just sit back and hear everybody. What we've been doing all our lives, sitting back and let somebody teach us what the word say, but we reading the word and studying it and picking it apart to see what people are telling us is true. In fact, that's why I like this type of teaching, where there's sources and resources that you can go yourself and go and check and say, well, what he said has some validity to it. Tomorrow night at 5 Eastern time, we'll be talking about the writing on the wall, because it's this time what's going on in our society, what's going on with the wars in the East. The writing's on the wall, America, and we need to be able to see what y'all saying to his people. Because we are the pawn, the king that he's going to use, and a lot of the prophecies that we heard misquoted and missaid, it gives you room to just smile. And all I've been doing the last 3 days is thank you, y'all. Thank you, y'all, for what you're doing. Thank you, y'all, for bringing me out so I can see with your hand. So we're going to talk about that on tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, my brother and family. Just be on the lookout. We have Passover that we get ready to celebrate.
Yeah.
Also, we have Parayam as well, but Passover is the big feast day that we're planning for. Feel free to send me email, wearewokenow@gmail.com, for those that may be interested. I haven't really been talking about it because of we're our main spot that we purchase is not going to be ready by then. So it's definitely going to have some limitations on the amount of people that we can host, but we still can host a significant amount of people. But nevertheless, with that being said, family, we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. In the words of Yahweh that he gave to Moses in Genesis chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, when Israel was at what appeared to be a dead end, they saw the Egyptians. They knew the Egyptians was gaining ground on them, ready to kill many of them, and as a whole, bring them back into slavery, bring them back into bondage. The Most High told Moses to give Israel these words. He said, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. He says we have to hold our peace. And the Hebrew word inside that text is charash, which means be quiet. In other words, calculated silence. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of